Soup is more art and magic than science. Don't overthink it and follow your heart. As long as you add enough salt, everything will be fine. I gotta tell you, I make great soup, and people always ask me for my recipe. But the truth is, there is no recipe. That's what makes soup such a great budget meal. Because so many people have asked how I make my soup, I actually created a formula for soup. I shared this several years ago in a blog I had when blogs were big, and today I'm going to share it with you. Soup has only 3 non-negotiable ingredients: onion, garlic, and salt. After that, you can start mixing and matching at random from the various categories I'm going to outline. You will need to choose a protein, which can be legumes, raw meat, leftover meat, trimmed, egg whites, nuts, pre-cooked beans, lentils, etc., anything you have in your refrigerator. I like to buy the marked down steak from my local grocery store and use as the base for my soups. Now you need to choose some veggies: carrots, celery, turnips, rutabaga, squash, radishes, tomato, parsnip, beets, pretty much anything you have in your fridge. Just try to avoid things like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage because they will give your soup a dirty flavor. Also, soup is a good way to use up any leftover vegetables you may have had from a previous meal or those that have started to get soft in the fridge. You also need a clarifying liquid such as wine, beer, whiskey, stock, water. You will use this to pull all the little sauteed bits off the bottom of the pan and infuse a delicious flavor into your soup. This next ingredient category may have you shaking your head and saying, "What the fuck?" but it is probably the most important category you're going to need. Something to brighten your dish. Items in this category include fresh or frozen berries, lemon zest, lemon juice, or a splash of vinegar. My favorite item in this category are frozen cranberries. I buy them on sale during the holiday season and throw them by the bag into my freezer. I just take a handful out and chop them when it's time to make soup. The final necessary category in your ingredient list is seasonings. Use paprika, cumin, ginger, oregano, Chinese 5-spice, curry powder, etc. Anything that makes your little heart sing. The final optional category in soup making is a starch. It is possible to add potato, rice, barley, any type of grain to your soup. Just know that most grains will not rewarm well and may end up making a silt in the bottom of your soup if you plan on serving it more than one night. I have some people in my family with texture aversions, so I usually omit the starch and plan to serve my soup with either homemade biscuits or cornbread. There you go, a choose your own adventure ingredient list. One thing to remember is that just choose what you have on hand or what you find on sale at the supermarket, and don't be afraid to use leftovers or wilted produce. Your soup is going to be amazing. Boop, boop, ba-doop, I'm making the soup. Start by heating a good splash of quality oil in your favorite soup pan. I like avocado oil or bacon grease for this step. Chop the onion while heating your oil and then put it into the hot pan. Chopped raw meat and slow cooking vegetables like carrots go in once the onion is softened. Garlic goes in at this point as well. Once the meat is browned and the vegetables already in the pan have begun to soften, you can add the rest of your vegetables and any pre-cooked meats, legumes, and or nuts. Don't forget to add your brightening ingredient or ingredients and season lightly. Right now the concern is to not over-season the soup. So put in a moderate amount of salt in your seasonings of choice. You will taste your soup once it has boiled for a few hours and add more seasonings from there. Let your pot full of seasoned ingredients cook over medium heat until all the vegetables have started to become tender. Then clarify the pan with your liquid of choice. Once all that action has died down, fill the remainder of the pot with water and put the lid on. Turn the heat to medium-low and walk away for at least 2 hours. After your soup has been bubbling away on the stove all afternoon, come back and give it a taste. Then adjust your seasonings. If you've adjusted your seasonings, let the soup cook for 30 to 60 more minutes to absorb the new additional flavors. If you are using fish or whisked egg whites for your protein source, add these right before serving and let simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. Now you have soup, soup, soup. And you probably will have soup for a few days. If you have soup left over but not quite enough to feed your whole family, put it on the stove and return it to a boil before adding a few more ingredients and letting simmer for an hour or so. This is a great way to make your budget stretch and to keep your family happy and full. If you've watched all this and you're still a bit confused, please note that I did not speak in time with my actions. That's just all background. I use some B-roll footage like a real YouTuber, and all of the instructions are actually written below in the description box for your convenience.